mandamatayo mandabhagyahi upatrutaha. So we have short life, dull in the sense we are very good in materially. We are very intelligent how to make money and how to preserve money and how to enjoy. But spiritually, generally in Kali Yuga, people are very dull, right? So His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj used to tell for those people who start, Bhakti Vrukshas and all, don't be. So when you start a Bhakti Vriksha, when you call people for satsang, which we also see, don't be surprised if they don't come, but be surprised if they come, because people don't have time or inclination to do that. Thankfully, we are in the path. We are trying to be in that path. So then sometimes they are unfortunate. We also see that people are generally not very fortunate. Even if they are fortunate, somewhere misfortune always chases them. An important thing is upadrutaha, that means always disturbed. Always disturbed. And then we're always, in some form or other, we're always disturbed, right? There are three kinds of tapatrayas, they call it. Some disturbances come because we commit our own mistakes. And sometimes the disturbances come because somebody else does something. And sometimes the disturbances come when the gods or the controllers of the nature have some task to do, like natural disasters, wars, famines, and whatever. So what is the remedy? So Prabhu has talked about the remedy of taking the shelter of scriptures, right? That's good thing. Now, for me to say that I have to take the shelter of the scriptures, right? But how do I take the shelter of the scriptures? How do I build that faith in myself that I can be in a position to take the shelter of the scriptures? Because if I am very disturbed always, which is true, which is coming from very much from Srimad Bhagavatam, and we don't have to, I guess nobody has to come to tell me that I am not disturbed always, right? Always something or other is chasing us. So one way of getting calmness, of getting that stability in life, to be in a position to read scriptures properly is prayer. Prayer is a very important thing in our devotional life. So I am just going through an article that I've read in 2010. This is an article on the path of pure devotion, where does prayers for others fit in? Not only prayers for us, prayers for others. This article was written by a very famous author. My name is Her Grace Urmila Mataji. She is the disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Very, very, very scholastic, very, very renowned personality. Written many books, established many schools. Very great personality. So that article had actually inspired me in 2010, and I've taken this topic several times in several places.
You want to adjust, Prabhu?
No, it's okay. It's okay. So why I'm taking this topic now is because today's topic is also there that I'm trying to correct. But even before that, I came prepared to speak on prayers, because at times in our lives, sometimes, upadrutaha, always disturbed, right? Some kind of a disturbance happen. So even in my life, for the last 14 months or 16 months, there have been so many disturbances. Time and again, on and off, continuously, one after another, sometimes 2-3 things together. And I've seen in this 14 months of life, I have not seen many things in my 64 years of life. So you can see how much of very tough situation that I'm going through in life. So what kept me going is this article. This article, what I'm going to share. And why I'm going to share? Because it's not that I want you to go through what I'm going through. But it is something very important. If you know the importance of prayer, in what way it will help us to be on ground when we have very, very, very unexpected scenarios. And also there's an inspiration for me to talk about these prayers is Prabhu has talked about, give me that book, Prabhu. Back. Prabhu has talked about Bhagavatam. He has quoted some slokas from Bhagavatam. And what is Bhagavatam? We may think that Bhagavatam, one way to describe Bhagavatam as, pastimes of Krishna, pastimes of the devotees of the Lord, and so many things, right? A lot of things that Bhagavatam talks about. Mainly Bhagavatam is remembered to have some pastimes of devotees and pastimes of the Lord, creation, annihilation, so many so forth. But in the crux of it, Bhagavatam, the entire Bhagavatam, if you take the crux, what is that thing which is coming extremely common as a layer? लहर बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में, लहर के जैसा भागवतम को एक बलबूती, a very very prominent and strong speaker. What does it do? Bhagavatam is a collation of 96 prayers. In the midst of teaching Leelas, there is a very nice book compiled by Narayani Mataji. It documents 96 prayers. So you can imagine in 12 cantos, somewhere or other somebody is praying for somebody. Sometimes devotees are praying for something, for their protection, sometimes for others' protection, and sometimes devotees are coming and asking others to pray. So in Bhagavatam Leelas, there are 96 prayers. So Bhagavatam is a collation of a prayers Ratnamala. So why the prayers are included in Bhagavatam? Because prayer is a very important, dominant thing, a nourishing agent for us. That's why even in our daily life, we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, right? Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's also a prayer. It's that we are praying to the Lord that please give me opportunity to serve. Because when I get the opportunity to serve, I have a good opportunity to forget my own anxieties, my own disturbances, because I am devoting my life to somebody else. So my priorities automatically get devoted, right? Prayer is so potent. So prayer as such, in Hindi it's called Prarthana, right? Please watch for the time, Prabhu. Prayer is Prarthana, right? Like we know that. But but if you want to try to see what is prayer, if you say our own prayers, basically it's an exclusive request, typically in the form of help. Like I'm saying that I'm going through very difficult time in life, one after that. But so then I have to reach to God to seek help, because I don't know, I cannot solve the problems in life. Or sometimes expression of thanks, something we want to have and we got it, so we say. And sometimes prayer is also very important, that we know that we have committed a mistake, a grave mistake, and then for which we are repentful, and then we go to God and say, please forgive. Because sometimes we may have a chance to seek forgiveness from the person who has committed, on whom we have committed an offense, but sometimes we may not have chance. Even if you want to forgive also, people may not forgive. So help, expression of thanks, forgiveness for the mistake, commitment, and of course from the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, we do also pray to seek right direction, to ask the Lordships, please put us in the right direction. Well, getting into the right direction is to be in the association of devotees. So all these prayers are typically directed towards God, right? And sometimes prayers are also treated as a religious service. We do pray, we get some things, Satchidananda Vrata is there, some prayers, homas, and a lot of things that we do. It's a religious thing, but they are typically have a material tinge, right? Even when we do a prayer at our home, get a pujari, and pujari comes and says, what says? He says, dharma, ardha, kama, moksha, you become very good, you become very rich, santana praptirastu, that, this. It has got a material tinge. But in the concept, when we understand the prayer as our direct communication to the Lord, our prayer has to be diverted to progress in devotional service. And we should never ever forget not to pray, because acharyas are telling that prayer to our lives is like a fuel to engine. If we don't put fuel, it will not work. So our life, for us to have a healthy life, we should have a sincere prayer in our life. Okay? And also, even though prayers are done as an help of expression or seeking help, prayer is not a sign of weakness. but it is a strength to prove and demonstrate that we have belief in God. So never ever think when you start praying that even though you are seeking help, that is not a weakness. Sometimes a very intense prayer can be called as a tapas, like people have done it, right? And typically, when we come into ISKCON, we realize that prayer is inherently a pure activity diverted to enhance our devotion service. Yes, we are also allowed to do prayer for sometimes material benefits, but they have to have some context of devotion. So prayer is very important. Without prayer, we cannot just sustain. Every activity that we do is a prayer. And very importantly, from a typical material world prayer, that majority of the people go to temples with something of seeking, right? Prayer should never ever be tried to use God as our servant. It's a very strong statement. So whenever we do pray and we want something, that pray first, initially it comes with something only. थोड़ा थोड़ा प्रेयर करते 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 ये उधर उधर दान गेन करते करते it becomes a demanding. We want God to be responsive to our prayers, or sometimes we take it as an entitlement. Oh, मैं तो prayer कर दिया तो भगवान देना ही है. Supply provider. So and Prabhupada is always saying, don't treat prayer as a means to say that God is a servant. So these are very, very important things about prayer that we need to remember. And I'll skip some things. And prayer is definitely a very, very universal language. There is no religion. It's where our heart directly communicates with the Lord, right? So because it's a very personal thing that we are trying to communicate to the Lord on what we want, what we think, what we should have. Sometimes in devotees think that communication comes as a poetry. And that poetry gets a verbalized emotions embedded in that, and that poetry gets into singing. That's why the prayers and the songs written by the great acharyas, hundreds and thousands of years, still we sing, right? What is so great about it? There's just something there, but the power of the power of their words is so intense that their direct communication with the Lord is being verbalized in the form of a text, and somebody is trying to put a tune and somebody is trying to sing, and we are repeating it, right? So recently we finished Damodar Aarti and Damodar Astak. Each verse of that is a very strong prayer. So that's the reason why in all theistic traditions, prayers have a very great value. Prayer is one thing, it's a remedy to our distress, and we are always distressed. So we need to develop our prayers. If we become strong in our prayers, we develop a strong faith and belief in God. When we have a strong faith, our faith matures in believing in will of the God, then our ability to understand what is being told in the scriptures definitely increases. So in all, there are three kinds of prayers. This is what people have analyzed. One prayer is a prayer for our own well-being. There's nothing wrong in praying. Praying for myself alone, right? There are many great pramans where devotees have prayed for themselves. Typically, my means, it can be me, it can be my family, it can be my nearest people. We pray, right? So the very good example of prayer for our own well-being is in Srimad Bhagavatam comes when Ashwatthama releases Brahmastra to kill Parikshit Maharaj. So what was the first reaction of Uttara? Pahi pahi mahayogin deva deva jagatpate nanyam tvat abhayam pasye yetra murtyu parasparam. She's running towards God and says that, this guy has left Brahmastra. So you protect me. There's no one else to protect. Pahi pahi mahabhavo. So you please protect me because somebody has released. But she suddenly goes to the next step. Then she starts praying for others. Because praying for ourselves has a tinge of some question of self-protection and some tinge of selfishness. And I want to be protected. Ashwatthama has released an arrow, Brahmastra. Nobody can counter it. And Uttara is in great distress. So she ran towards Lord to say that, please protect me. But she realizes and prays to the Lord, please don't, there's no need to protect me, but protect the guy who is there in my womb. That is praying for herself. She's willing to leave her body. So praying for others is a request and a desire, is an initiative without a request or express desire from the person for whom prayers are offered. This is extremely important in our life. And in the Christian world, this is called intercessory prayers. As a community, also, if we want to become very strong in prayers, if we want to be bound with a very deep affections, we need to develop that habit of also praying for others. It is not only praying for us, that's also a part of it, but praying for others means what? At least I forget my issues, which I was saying, right? I have so many issues that are haunting me day and night in the last 14 months. If I remember that, okay, I keep on praying, I keep on praying for me to get out of this issue, but if I can take some time of that out, okay, forget it. Anyway, I have problems, that's not an issue. I have to go through it. But let me take some time to pray for somebody else. Praying for somebody else is called intercessory prayer. In Christian communities, it's very strong. And we have to develop it. Someday, on a daily basis, either we should hear somebody praying to somebody, or we need to develop a habit of praying for somebody. It's a very important. It's very potent. That is the reason why in our satsang also we have this habit. Or end of the class or end of the session, we always list down people for whom we want to pray. Right? Somebody is in difficulty, somebody is aspiring for something. So take that moment off and pray for others is reducing our own selfishness, and we are looking at a broader picture of life. And it is a praying to Krishna in a specific situation on behalf of a person who is in need of mercy and grace. We know that person is going through very difficulty. Somebody is trying for a job, somebody's lost a job. Like Prabhu has said, a lot of things are happening, right? A lot of things. Somebody loses a husband, somebody loses a wife, so many things. And it helps us to develop the empathy towards others. So prayer doesn't mean that we only pray for ourselves and our family, but in the context of bhakti system, prayer is for others. So Uttara prayed like this. Kaliya's wives, when Kaliya is getting attacked by Krishna, because Kaliya did a lot of horrible things, Kaliya's wives came and prayed to Krishna, so please, I will not go to the shloka, because Ambrisha Maharaj prayed for offender Durvasa. Prahlada prayed to Lord to forgive his father. Women in Vrindavan prayed for Krishna's protection because they didn't know that Krishna was Supreme Personality of the Godhead. And he was every day into, Krishna also was having Upadrita, always distress. Some demon or other was trying to attack him. So praying for others is very important. And we have in Chaitanya Charitamrita one super example of a person, Vasudeva Datta, an associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You know what was his prayer? So we are saying that, we are praying for ourselves, and I'm praying for, somebody is not well, or somebody wants to get a job. But his daily routine prayer is that I pray so that other sins can be transferred to me. Oh Lord, give me that service so that others can be better. His prayer is just not, relieve them from stress. So this is an extreme example that we see in prayers. And then we basically the mood is pure love. Pure love, that only everything can be sorted by God. And when we pray to ourselves, or when we pray for others. One thing that our elders repeatedly tell, and because they tell repeatedly, because we repeatedly fall into the trap. Prayer is nothing about the volume or intensity. जोर से बैंड बजा से हंगामा से, that is not a parameter for prayer. We should remember it doesn't depend upon the grandeur in which you pray and in the hangama that you do for prayer. Intensity of the prayer is just to request Lord, even for us or for others, to relieve from suffering, but with a very, very important clause. And this clause typically comes, I never heard in my engage till I came to ISKCON, till I read Prabhupada. That's why that's very important. Krishna, if so, you will. I am praying for somebody's job, and like my friend is, in a trouble about job. I pray to Krishna, I want him in the Damodar Desh, I want him to have a job here, if so, you will. So that itself tells that we are not taking Krishna as a servant to order supplier, but we are putting our request in our own ignorance or whatever. Pray, ask, and put, if so, you will. I want to get promotion, Krishna, if so, you will. Because we should understand, whenever we are praying, that they say that there is no chance that our prayers can never ever be unanswered. Krishna has answered to every of our prayer. But sometimes his answer is yes, sometimes his answer is no. Sometimes his answer is conditional no, sometimes his answer is absolute no. So when we are praying, when we are not getting what we want, we should understand that this situation is somehow Krishna is telling, sir, no, not now, not your promotion is not now, not your Tesla car, not now, now your Mercedes Benz slightly wait, it's not now. Even if I give you, there is something else that you will do. So please don't do that. So praying for others is our extreme dependence on Krishna, that we are trying to follow his will. Krishna, as you will. Even Acharyas also, in ISKCON we see that very dominantly, when they bless us also, if Krishna wills. So if I go and to bow down to my spiritual master and say, oh, I want this, yeah, I'm blessing you, but if Krishna wills. Right? So even this goes so extreme in our ISKCON communities, even when we are praying for somebody who is sick and we want him to be alive, right? We go to the extent of praying to Krishna that we want him to be alive. It's not that he needs us, we need him. If you take him away, I'll be deprived of somebody. However, if so you will, kindly keep him with us for some time. And this is the prayer. That's very important. So even in that extreme situation, we should say that it is his will. And there are many things. So one question is, so if we pray for others, are we presuming to know better than Krishna on how we run the universe? Answer is no, actually. We are simply trying to develop a natural relationship with him, that we are his servants. So that's why we are praying, right? So that mood of servitude comes. I'll just quickly go. And 5 minutes, yeah. Requesting for others, prayer for others' welfare. Like, we pray for us, we pray for others. That, right? Like I'm in difficulty, Raskanan Prabhu is now knowing that I'm having problem for last 14 months. Mataji is also, I'm sure they're going to pray. Shashimukhi Mataji is always praying for me. So, it's very natural, right? But there is a situation in life where somebody may not be praying for others, but it's nothing wrong that we go and tell them, I'm in this problem, please pray for me. Why we do that? Because it's an extreme level of surrender. I think that I'm not fit, I'm not good enough and worthy enough to pray so that Lord listens to me. So I feel that you are a good devotee and you are near to Krishna. Please pray for me. Maybe he will hear. So it's a submission. So praying for us, natural thing. Praying for others, develop it, be a part, and think now and then when you recollect your own devotional life, how much am I praying for others? Others means beyond family. Huh? Okay, wife and husband is not others. It doesn't qualify. It's praying for yourself. It's very important. So it's extremely important, and it's very rewarding. And when we see that, it may not be because of our prayers that somebody came out of suffering, but somehow you have that connection. Oh my God, I prayed for him and he got a job. May not be because of things, but then what happens? I have a belief in God. I prayed for him, he got a job. My belief system increases, right? And requesting others to pray for others is a mood of surrender. All three aspects have to be praying. So Prabhupada used all these prayers. He prayed for himself, he prayed for others, and he requested people to pray. That's a very important thing. I will not go to that quotes because its time is up. Prabhupada said, please pray for me so that I am healthy, so that I can read Srimad Bhagavatam. He is asking his disciple to pray. He doesn't have to do that. So I'll quickly do. So how can we increase the attitude to pray? So one of the Krishna missionaries long back have done a lot of research. They said, why people go to church? Pray, right? What do they pray? No, they were not getting a very clear-cut answer. So they did a lot of research. They kept on asking different, why do you go? Why do you go? They were collecting a lot of information. Then they got thousands and thousands of reasons why people go to church and pray. And then what they did, that the research institute did churn all those prayers. And they came out with 3 fantastic prayers. I'll just tell that. There the word is God. I only changed the word to Krishna because we are all connected to Krishna. So I read this about 15 to 16 years back, and I don't think that in no day I would not chant these prayers. It's my prayer. Prayer is a very personal. I'm sharing with you. You can also try. Look back and thank Krishna. It's very difficult, huh? At any point in time, I should have that confidence to say, thank you, Krishna. You've given me more than what I deserve. And today in my situation, as I'm telling that I'm having issues in the last 14 months, and some issues, can I say with confidence, thank you, Krishna, you have given me this problem? Can I say that? I cannot, right? But we should develop that thing to be able to develop gratitude towards Krishna or God. Look back and thank Krishna. Every day look back on what all happened to you. It could have been much worse. Yeah, it could have been much worse. I'm thinking this problem that I am having is big problems. It could have been worse, much worse, right? So thank you, Krishna. You have given me this much, fine. But you have not given me worse. Look back and thank Krishna every day. Then look around and feel Krishna. When you look back and thank Krishna, more and more faithfully, not grudgingly, not complainingly, we thank Krishna. More and more, genuinely, we can be in a position in life to thank Krishna for whatever he has given. And more, you look around and feel Krishna. And then you will feel the God around you. You will see God. You will see God's activities, what God is giving and how God is driving your life, right? Then you stop planning and align to God's plan. There's a very, very nice purport in Bhagavad Gita 14.3. It says a similar thing, right? More and more we pray, more and more we give belief system, we tend to believe in the God's plan, but not our plan. And that can happen only when we look around and feel Krishna. But then, where is the hope? The third line is, look ahead and trust Krishna. If you have to be in a position to thank Krishna, to look back, you have to have a trust in him. And if you have a trust in Him, you can thank Him better. And if you thank Him better, you can feel Him around you. And if you can feel Him around you, feel God, Krishna around you, then that upadravas or disturbances that come in life, even though we may externally be very disturbed, we may feel that I'm in a very, very, very horrible state of mind, right? But people perceive it as in a very different way. Look back and thank Krishna, look around and feel Krishna, look ahead and trust Krishna. This is very, very important to have this. So we'll all read together. Look back and thank Krishna.
Look back and thank Krishna.
Look around and feel Krishna.
Look around and feel Krishna.
Look ahead and trust Krishna.
Look ahead and trust Krishna.
Our prayer should be that we have to internalize these three statements. If we do this, our life will be very different, very interesting life. That's why when people who do this kind of a prayer in a very intense manner, they say that faithful, you can repeat this, faithful sees invisible.
Faithful sees invisible.
Because he sees Lord around him, right? He sees invisible. God is not visible. He believes in incredible. If Krishna lifts Govardhan hill, I believe, right? Anything God does for my pleasure, and he believes in incredible. He doesn't doubt. And that's why he receives impossible. That is bhakti. That is the association of devotees. If you see so many people in this world, and if you look back, how fortunate we are and how fortunate is the association, the sangha that we have. Sometimes we underestimate it, completely underestimate it. We don't even realize it. But to be having a safety net of devotees is something unbelievable. I'll just give one example. I don't want to, it's a very confidential matter, but since the last 9 days, 10 days, today is the 10th day, I'm in thick and thin of a very, 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 very unusual event in life in some of our congregation members' family. We can't even imagine. Somehow or other, I'm there. And I'm constantly praying for the family. Look back and thank God. Look around and feel Krishna. Look ahead and trust Krishna. Praying for others is important. But as I do that, I see whatever little congregation support that we could do, because it's a very confidential thing. We could not tell all to respect the privacy of the person who is having problem. And we were there Saturday and Sunday, almost, I would say about 10 hours, 12 hours in their house. And then while we were coming back, a few of us were thinking, and his brother, the person's brother had come back to Australia to support the family, and he told it eyes, uncontrollable tears in his eyes. At 10 o'clock when we were leaving their house, he said, and now I realize what is ISKCON. Now I realize what is devotees. And now I realize what is your relationships that you have built to be in this, praying for each other, supporting each other. He says I can't just think about it. I just said, you're only seeing fraction of it. If I just make a call now, the whole world of Alfonso and Discovery will be landing in your house. Without you needing, they will completely help. But she said, no, we are not in a position to receive them, but whatever you have given is good. So that is important. So looking back and thank Krishna, looking around and feel Krishna, look ahead and trust Krishna is a very, very important thing. I'm not just telling. I'll just tell one few things. This year I had one of the worst years in my career. 43 years of my work life, I would consider this was my worst ever year, because we had seen a massive cyber incident which I always wanted to escape to retire, but I've seen it. I've gone through it. I'm still going through it. A lot of issues. So as usual, year-end thing came, right? So I went into my boss's office thinking that, I'm gone. I mean, definitely, anyway, they would have removed me long back. Somehow they kept, for whatever reason. I said I would get the worst of the rank. And I actually opted to get the worst of the possible grading that I should have, because I wanted to suffer. Because unless I don't suffer, I'll forget it. But I got something totally opposite. He said that, I know that you've been going through hell, not only in your personal life, your wife's health, your child health, a lot of things. And on top of it, this. I never seen you getting disturbed in all this. You're just running through that and trying to do your thing. So I know that what happened was worse. It's definitely a failure from your end, there's no doubt. But my mind doesn't allow me to punish you. Because I've never seen you like that. Why? Because this prayer. Every day, look back and thank Krishna, look around and feel Krishna, look ahead and trust Krishna. Even on the worst day when I faced it, I said, look back and thank Krishna. Whatever I'm seeing today, it could have been much worse. You've just left me with a dent and a scratch, but you kept the driver and the car safe. Why that thing comes? Because this prayer of looking back and thanking Krishna, when we internalize, it's a very helpful. Today I actually practically realized it. Okay, so I was not. So I immediately sent a message to my wife. Can you believe this? That a guy was failed horribly, thing, and suddenly he's saved by the company. It doesn't happen, right? Why? Because sometimes even without our knowledge, when you internalize our prayers, people automatically see something around us which we don't even know. And we should thank Prabhupada for this. We should thank our congregation for this. It's not that it's something I have got it. It is just what we get from our congregation, what we get on a Sangha. So that's why devotee association is extremely important. So always pray for you, no problem. But set your time to pray for others. And if there is an issue, don't hesitate to come to a devotee and say, sir, please pray for me. And always look back and thank Krishna. It may not be very easy, but slowly develop that so that you can say it with confidence. Then look around and feel Krishna and look ahead and trust him. He's doing something for you, for sure. Because you have, at least you've not surrendered, at least you said that I am trying to surrender. At least I am with those people who have surrendered. So he will somehow take care. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And one of the very important prayer culturally has given